Alright, so here's our trailer we just picked up. He told me it was a 2016 and it's a 12 by 6, so 12 feet long, 6 feet wide. With the fenders it's over 7. Now we have a new hitch coming in that'll be more level with the trailer. This is all I had on short notice. Let's take a look inside. It's actually pretty nice. The floor's painted. No real damage to it. The reason I wanted the dual axle was because if one tire pops, you got a backup. Also, it's less weight on the vehicle and you can carry more. But I didn't want it so long that it was hard to drive down the highway. But all in all, it's a pretty nice trailer. It's got the LED black backlights. But this is what we're going to be using to fix up and go off-grid living and camping with. Alright, so here I'm modifying a furniture dolly with the piece of wood that I got from the guy that I bought the trailer from to space up the trailer, because we had to lift it so high because I didn't have a big enough drop on my hitch to actually mount the trailer level with the vehicle, which is kind of important for just travelability and aerodynamics. But I use this to get it down and to be able to wheel it into our shop. Alright, so before we show you the layout of the trailer, let's get into why we're building the trailer. Realistically, we want to do some traveling. We want to buy properties, just rural properties, nothing really developed on them, just really pretty properties. And we're looking for stuff that's about 500 miles apart. And the reason that we're building the trailer is so that we have sort of a base of operations out of each one of these properties, like a bathroom, solar panels for power and stuff like that. So this trip right here that we're going to show you, we kind of scout out some properties. We really like Williams. We've already bought something in southern Colorado, and we really like Casper.
Yeah, we really wanted to travel with the kids, especially while they're, not adults yet. And, traveling with family can be pretty expensive if you're staying at a hotel and having to stop at gas stations and such to go to the bathroom and having to eat out the whole time. So the idea was just to see how we could put money into the trailer instead of just wasting it on a hotel or eating out, and then we could kind of set ourselves up to be able to do this traveling rather inexpensively once we had all the infrastructure.
So this line is basically the grid of what we're thinking about. Williams, maybe a property in there, southern Colorado, Casper, and then maybe something in Utah and then back. Maybe we'll get bigger circles if we are able to find other properties. But so far, this is the goal, and it's a pretty optimistic goal, but we'll see if we can accomplish this.
Day one, we drove from Southern California to the Grand Canyon. We did check out Williams, Arizona on the way to the Grand Canyon.
This is the area around Williams, which is also by the Grand Canyon. You can see by all the trees why we really like this area.
We ended up staying at the Yavapai Lodge inside the Grand Canyon. It was relatively inexpensive and it looked pretty nice. We had a good time.
Here's the menu for the Yavapai Tavern.
We are at the tavern at our motel, and we are having lemon berry cake and salted caramel and peanut butter chunk gelato.
The gelato was pretty good. How was the cake?
It was really good. And here's the Grand Canyon itself. This is our first time being there, and we were really surprised at how beautiful the land is around it and how obviously really gorgeous the canyon itself is. But mostly we were surprised at how forested and pretty it was around.
So then I convinced Melissa that night to go to Hopi Point to film the sunset. It was pretty nice there. You had to take a bus to get there. There was a couple of benches.
Yeah, I was rather hot and uncomfortable. There were some benches, but yeah, there weren't a lot of places to sit, and it was pretty hot.
It was beautiful, though.
It was very beautiful.
Here's a time lapse of the sunset that I was able to capture. You can see the Colorado River down at the bottom there, but it was very beautiful.
Day 2 of travel was from the Grand Canyon through the Four Corners to our property in southern Colorado.
As soon as we got to the turnoff on our property, we saw a herd of deer.
They were very beautiful. It was super green and very, very pretty.
So here's our property. We own from where we're at right now all the way to the top of that ridge, all the way into the ravine. And it's very beautiful, and we are very excited to be here. Here's a picture of the sunset that we captured. It was so fiery and just amazing looking.
It was so beautiful just to sit on our property. We had a tiny little sterno can, and we heated up water and drank some tea and looked at the sunset. It was beautiful.
That night it was very cold, but wow, I have never seen so many stars before.
Oh, it was so beautiful. We very badly tried to camp in the car. It didn't work very well.
Needless to say, we did not get that much sleep, but I did capture a time lapse of the sun rising.
It was totally worth it.
And then here's one of my favorite shots of the sunrise. You can just pick out the tiny little trees on the hill out there. After this, we went back home, made a few extra stops, but the rest of the trip was pretty uneventful, and we got back and we found a trailer that we were looking for, and we bought it. One of the other perks of having your own trailer with a bathroom in it, hopefully, is being able to just stop wherever to go to the bathroom rather than, is this gas station okay? So it's pretty nice to have your own bathroom when you're traveling.
Definitely. Highly recommend. 100%.
Okay, so we're about to start the project. I have this masking tape. It's pretty much just the outline or rough estimate of where we kind of want the bathroom to be. Sink in this area, toilet in this area. So we kind of want the wall lined up with the door right here because I want to keep that tie down. So the wall will go right there. That's basically in the middle. I think we're going to move it over more, but it's completely empty right now. And we'll put the sink in the toilet just for mock-up so we could see all the dimensions. This is the toilet we went with, Nature's Head Self-Contained Composting Toilet. We think it's going to be the best for our needs. It's mountable. It's, you know, it says self-contained, but it really is self-contained, and it separates your liquids from your solids. But let's get it out. So it comes pretty well packed. So basically right here, when you're going to the bathroom, it converts or it directs all of your liquids that way into this container. And we think pretty much almost everything is in here for us to set it up. Here's the handle that goes on the side. There's a vent tube. It's pretty well packed. And that stirs up the pulp.
So in here you put either coconut coir or peat moss. We chose coconut coir, and it comes in like a big brick, and you basically moisten it and kind of turn it into like almost like an earth kind of thing. And then this is where your liquids go, and you just dump it out. Generally, I think that we probably will need to dump it out maybe once a day or so with the people we have, but I guess...
The liquids.
Yeah, just the liquids. I guess the solids you can go maybe a week if you have like 4 to 5 people, maybe 2 weeks if you have like 1 or 2.
So this seals against this, and then you can see where it's sucking and blowing air through to make sure that this isn't too humid.
Right, yeah. But it's supposed to be a little bit wet to do the composting, but it only starts composting in here. Basically, what you're supposed to do is you can either throw it away in the trash, or you could put it in a composting pile. And it needs to fully compost before you would actually put it on plants or something that anybody would eat.
So then the part that I liked about this for our trailer application was right here. And same on the other side, is it actually has mounting points. A lot of other toilets we were looking at were just loose or they weren't going to be really good for the trailer, because the last thing you want is to open up the door of the trailer after driving for hundreds of miles and the toilet's over here now or it's over there. So I really liked that option on this. All right, now that we have this just sitting there, we're now going to put in the sink so that we can see its relation to this to make sure all the measurements are correct before we start cutting and building anything. All right, so here's the 2 countertops we bought. This one is from Home Depot. This one's from Lowe's. We initially liked this one. We thought the gray would be a good contrasting color, but when we got it, it didn't fit. The sink didn't fit to the cabinet. Those are the dimensions, and here's the dimensions of this. They're pretty close, and since we're building everything anyways, it doesn't seem to matter, but the sink's a little thicker, and it was actually $10 cheaper. Just wanted to show you the comparison. Lowe's, Home Depot, basically the same cabinet. I mean, it's basically the same thing. Dimensions are slightly different, but this one seems better built, cheaper. The sink's a little nicer too. Has a thicker, you know, it actually hugs the cabinet, where this one sits on top and doesn't even fit. I looked on the bottom and I would literally have to grind into the cabinet or grind into the sink to get it to fit. So this one was also much better packed compared to that one. This one, I don't know if you can see it, but it's all scuffed up right here because of the way it was packed. So returning, keeping, going in the trailer. All right, so there's the sink that's in. This right here is pretty much the non-negotiable, if you will, because I don't want to lose that tie down. Now we did end up going more this way than we first thought, but the shelves we're going to build right here, we don't necessarily need a lot of room right there. And here's the other reason we picked this specific sink, is because, as you can see, my knee pretty much goes underneath this, but then you still have this full sink. So it's sort of like the best of both. Big sink, small cabinet, pretty stylish. So this is the basic setup. So for your trailer, you should definitely get the main components, set them up, and see if you're okay with it. So the toilet could still go back a little bit. It could still go that way. It does have the handle that goes on this side. Yeah, it can only go on one side, the handle. So I need enough room right here to make sure I can be able to turn that. And then I don't want to go back too far because I want that to be able to stay up if we need it to. So that one's pretty close to where it should be. And that's about how much more over we are. So I think we're at the point where we're going to start cutting wood. So also this doorway right here is a lot smaller than this doorway, so I think we're going to have to build this wall right here behind this first, because the paneling that's going to go on here is probably not going to fit through this doorway. So it'll fit through here, and then we'll build this wall. So yeah, let's get started.
So high, I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's